I'm Steve Jhonson. I'm the subject leader for radio at the Atrium, and also have a big interest in community radio. I was lucky. I played in bands. I was a musician. I'm a musician and songwriter, and a friend of mine was doing a show at a station called Red Dragon FM, which is a station near the Atrium, and they needed somebody to help out with an unsigned band's show. Somebody with some knowledge of local music. And they gave me a call. I did the unsigned band show unpaid for about a year, and started to get more comfortable and went in out studios all the time. And then eventually one of their presenters was being fired, and they needed a new presenter, and they brought me in and put me on the overnight show, which I did again for about another year. I got paid this time, and then they offered me the evening show, and it just went on from there. And then I went to Radio Wales, BBC Radio Wales, for a couple of years. Then I went to Valleys Radio for about 18 months. Then I went to a station called Bridge FM in Bridgend, where I was the programme controller and manager. And then I came here as a community radio tutor 10 years ago. And the most enjoyable thing is the lecturing and being in the class with students, talking about something that hopefully your students have some interest in. Playing some interesting audio, trying to provoke some interesting ideas, and trying to involve the students in, as much as possible, getting a taste for radio, doing some live broadcasting, and being imaginative and creative. Well, my favourite thing in radio always was interviewing. I like interviewing people. I like meeting people and finding out about them, and sometimes quite famous people, and live music, and just sharing time with people and finding out what they're all about and what drives them on really is the most interesting thing. And sometimes producing features and being happy with the final result. My favourite interview ever, I was only talking about it today actually, when I was at Red Dragon in about 1991, 1992, something like this. I went to interview a man called John Lydon, who was also known as Johnny Rotten. He was the singer from the Sex Pistols. And so I interviewed him in the basement of a hotel in London. And he was extremely difficult, but very, very interesting, and just basically gave me a really hard time. But it was great radio. So I brought it back and turned it into a week's worth of content when Steve met Johnny. And that was 20 odd years ago. That's still my favourite interview because he was contentious, opinionated, rude, aggressive, but interesting. But radio, really, it's all about communication. You can break down radio skills quite significantly in sort of academic terms. There's lots of books written about radio, but essentially all you need to be able to do is read, write, speak and count. If you can read scripts and write for radio and time the content for your programs and communicate and be understood. Sounds really obvious, but they are really the basic skills of radio, and to be able to communicate so you can get your message across and understand the needs of a target audience. Whereas with radio, you've got to kind of paint the pictures for people's minds with the sound of how you communicate. So you need to write it in a way that you can lift that script off the page and bring it to life, essentially. That's where it's at, is finding something that you love and finding some way of expressing yourself, because you need to get that out. At the same time, you're still involving yourself in community radio. Hopefully in a few years' time, when that freeing up of the spectrum happens and they're looking for staff with experience and academic qualifications, they'd be in the right place at the right